Since 2012, Kathleen Kennedy has been the president of Lucasfilm. She took charge of the franchise under the new Disney banner and after the departure of George Lucas. In today's video, I'm going to reveal the 3 companies that Kathleen Kennedy is looking to for a future after Lucasfilm.
Have you seen Star Wars?
It's been almost 10 years since Kathleen Kennedy took charge of Lucasfilm, and I thought I would share some information I received earlier this month. I was told by a reliable source that Kathleen Kennedy has 3 different studio companies on her radar for future endeavors should she choose to leave Lucasfilm later this year. Funny enough, recently Disney CEO Bob Chapek did say that they look forward to Kathy running the Lucasfilm company for years to come. So it does look like Kathy may be staying at Lucasfilm, but the choice is ultimately up to her, not Bob Chapek, not literally anyone else. I mean, if they want to let her go, I'm sure they could, but they don't seem to want to. And so we're going to find out later this year if Kathy decides to extend her contract with Lucasfilm or go somewhere else. But in the odd situation where she does not stay at Lucasfilm, here are the 3 companies I've been told that Kathy is looking to move to. So at number 1, we have the first company, which is none other than Bad Robot, a production company created by J.J. Abrams, who, if you all remember, did episodes 7 and 9 in the sequel trilogy. This would likely mean that Kathy would become a co-chairman alongside J.J. Abrams, similar to what her role with Lucasfilm was before they sold the company to Disney. George brought her in as a co-chairman, meaning they were pretty much equals. And Bad Robot is a mid-tier production company, at least in my eyes. So this works on big movies, and they also work on small movies, but they're kind of too big to be considered an indie production company. So I think it's a good fit for Kathy, since she'd be working with a lot of familiar faces like J.J. Abrams, Michelle Rejwan, who is the vice president over there for Lucasfilm in live action development. She came from Bad Robot. She came from underneath J.J. Abrams. So when it comes to networking, this is a good fit for Kathy. I mean, she has worked with a lot of these people before. Don't forget, Bad Robot, they were also producing the sequel trilogy when it came to episodes 7 and 9. So they helped a lot with the movies. Kathy would fit in really well at this company just because she knows everyone and has worked with these people before. Now, while I don't think this is a bad move for Kathy if she does go to Bad Robot after Lucasfilm, I also feel like it's a little bit of a step down, just because I feel like she would want to work back with her Frank Marshall company that her husband owns, or one of the other 2 companies we're going to talk about. So it's not like this can't happen. I just don't really see it. I feel like she can move on to greener pastures in this. But the second company I was told she's looking to move into is one that shocked me the most, and that is Marvel. Now, she would not be taking over someone like Kevin Feige's role, who is the head guy for Marvel content. He's kind of in charge of where the story is going. They have their own style, the Lucasfilm Story Group over there at Marvel. But one of the leading executive producers for the company would not be a bad role for Kathy Kennedy. And 10 years after Star Wars, it does seem fitting that she would go into Marvel, just because they seem to be going on similar routes right now. But truth be told, it doesn't seem like the perfect fit for Kathy when it comes to creativity. Marvel has a vast history in the comic books and more. Someone like Kathleen Kennedy doesn't strike me as a giant Marvel fan who knows a lot about the heroes and the lore and the vast history of the Marvel universe. So if she goes to Marvel, I don't see her being overly involved with the creative process, but likely someone who's going to deal with the nitty-gritty work of being a producer in terms of casting, production, marketing, being an actual business person. I don't think this is where she should go if she leaves Lucasfilm, but I can't say she wouldn't be a lost cause at Marvel due to her experience in the industry and now her experience with Star Wars. So it would be good to see her team up with Kevin Feige, but I feel like if she went over there, a lot of Marvel fans would be upset because of the narrative that Star Wars fans have set up for Kathleen Kennedy. But at last, but certainly not least, is Walt Disney Studios. Yes, one thing Kathy may end up doing is simply moving up the chain of command. Alan Horn is the current co-chairman for the Walt Disney Studio Company. And if you don't know, Alan Horn is Kathleen Kennedy's direct boss. In terms of chain of command, it goes Lucasfilm president and Marvel president, Kathleen Kennedy, Kevin Feige. Who is their boss? Who do they report to? They report to Alan Horn. Who does Alan Horn report to? Bob Iger. That's the chain of command right there. So if Alan Horn does retire, because he has hinted at that for a very long time now, if he does retire, at least before the end of this year, Kathy could just move up and take his spot. Even after, let's say she extends herself at Lucasfilm for 3 years. If he retires 3 years down the line, she moves up, takes his spot. Guess what? She's now in charge of the next Lucasfilm president, and that would probably upset a lot of Star Wars fans, but in terms of corporate structure, I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, if you're being promoted to your boss's position and you're in charge of the next person who is taking your spot, it would make sense that you would want to kind of guide them and help them along the way. So if I had to pick any spot for Kathleen Kennedy, if I really had to choose where she should go after Lucasfilm, it would either be back to her with her husband, the Frank Marshall Company, but I would really like to see her become co-chairman of the Walt Disney Studios, because she would be working with Marvel, of course, which is cool and whatever. I don't really care about those movies, but when it comes to Star Wars, she would be giving the Lucasfilm president, whoever's next, a lot of creative freedom that Bob Iger and Alan Horn have given her. So I think that would be a good fit for her, and I also think it would help the next Lucasfilm president just to have their predecessor not only being their boss, but also a phone call away to be like, hey, we're in this situation, you've dealt with these people before, what should we do, all of that. So now the recent comments from Bob Chapek, the Disney CEO, who says that she's going to be running Lucasfilm for years to come, it basically means that a lot of this is speculation at this point, because the only person who can decide if Kathy is going to sign that contract or leave Lucasfilm at the end of this year is Kathleen Kennedy herself. So if she does decide to stay on, we're going to have, probably 3 to 5 more years of Kathleen Kennedy as Lucasfilm president, but maybe she decides to go a different route. Maybe she just wants to retire from the film industry. Right now, all signs point to her staying on longer because we have so many Star Wars projects happening. I think it would be kind of stupid for her to leave before this new era starts. But I was told she's looking to move on from Lucasfilm, but maybe that's no longer her thinking and her plan. Kathy may think her place is with Lucasfilm for the foreseeable future until she's ready to step down. But no need to fear. I was also told about a list of candidates for Lucasfilm president that Disney has, and that is saved for tomorrow's video. But if you want to hear those names before then, check out the most recent episode of the Chatooine show that we did this past weekend. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. Which of these 3 potential companies do you see Kathleen Kennedy fitting in best with? Marvel, Bad Robot, or the Walt Disney Studios? And do you see her staying on as Lucasfilm president later this year, or will she pass the torch and move on to something else? Thank you all for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a like or a comment because it does help out the channel. If you enjoy Star Wars Only, become an Only fan and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on the latest news in Star Wars. I'm Star Wars Only. I will see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.